Hello everyone and welcome to the Military Chessboard channel. Today's main hotspot is Avdiivka. Amidst the vibrant atmosphere welcoming the new year, where laughter and wishes were still fresh, Russia suddenly decided to deploy a formidable force, marking the beginning of a major attack on Ukrainian territory. Under the gloomy skies of northern Avdiivka, in Stepova and the surrounding areas of Vaseline, the sound of gunfire and explosions continuously replaced the New Year's cheer. In this context, Mr. Putin's reckless and thoughtless strategy seems to have turned the Russian military into a blind war machine, pushing numerous soldiers into the line of death without any meaningful purpose or honor. Every lost life is not only a personal tragedy, but also a testament to the brutality and senselessness of this conflict. We also have information about the Russian advancement from Vaseline along this forest line. You can see many Russian attack vectors on the map, but I believe their main direction is near Stepova. Similar to the attack on the industrial area and the power plant located here, these two places are the most challenging for the Ukrainian military. Their goal is to control the crucial intersection, primarily the only supply route for Ukraine. Although the Russian military made an effort to capture a few more meters, the result was a painful failure, reflecting the disappointment of an enthusiastic but ineffective attack. This was recorded in the latest footage from drone cameras, where we witnessed the organized but bitter movement of Russian forces. With a massive convoy of armored vehicles, they advanced confidently but unexpectedly. The first vehicle was engulfed by a minefield, turning the army's effort into a scene of utter destruction. The Russian convoy continued to move, but the second vehicle was also destroyed at the same spot, so two vehicles were struck in the same place. And the third vehicle was also targeted, possibly this time by a UAV drone. One vehicle tried to escape but was targeted on its way back to Russian positions. This is Russia's attack effort on a challenging day, still following this scenario. The Ukrainian military has all the weapons they need to protect the area. However, what we still lack are proper ground defenses like trenches, bunkers, and anti-tank barriers. These would help Ukraine save more lives. But as I've mentioned, it's now too late to construct these in a challenging area because they're very close to front lines and Russia would immediately target any engineering equipment, making trench digging an extremely dangerous endeavor. Therefore, all the trenches available there have been dug by our soldiers. These trenches are obviously less robust compared to the officially engineered ones. Unmanned aerial vehicles, also known as UAVs, continue to play a major role in this conflict. For example, a significant Russian artillery system was destroyed with the help of just a single drone costing no more than $500. As you can understand, Ukraine has primarily shifted to comprehensive defense, but nonetheless, this defense is very successful because their army inflicts heavy losses on Russia. Here we have a map showing that Russia has definitely occupied some small areas. This is a new direction of attack by the Russian military. However, this area is still far from the industrial zone and factories. Therefore, Russia will face difficulties crossing rivers and many lakes to reach the factories. And this means the hardest part is still ahead for Ukraine. But recently, there has been no progress from Russia. This is the place where the Russian military lost the vehicles that I showed you in the drone video, so you can see the symbols of the burning Russian vehicles here. To capture Stepova, Russia has poured in a large number of armored vehicles and tanks, but all efforts seem to be in vain. Although Russian military bloggers once joyfully claimed victory a few weeks ago, the reality is harsh as Stepova remains an impregnable fortress, proving that military tactics and strength do not always equate to victory. While we understand that if Russia continues to gather more resources, they might eventually capture this village, even Avdiivka. We should prepare for this scenario, especially our generals. Many military experts believe that Russia may capture Avdiivka in the next 2 or 3 months, meaning in February or March. However, the Ukrainian military is doing its utmost in the current situation with the resources available at hand. And the only strategy for us is defense. Today, Russia also lost its Buk air defense system, the modernized version being the Buk M2. Initially, this photo was published on the internet, Over the past month, Russia has lost about 10 such systems, which is a significant number. There was a major interview of Vladimir Zelensky with The Economist right after the new year, and he spoke about Ukraine's prospects and the current situation. Zelensky admitted that Ukraine couldn't achieve all its goals last year, but the feeling that Putin wins is just a feeling. I agree with this because Putin still cannot achieve his goals, his army being terribly ruined in the effort to take small villages on the front lines. If the situation continues like this, Putin will lose his army once again. No matter how large Russia's resources are, if they continue to waste them as they are now, victory, even a small one, is impossible. Zelensky also spoke about the consequences if Putin wins in Ukraine. He said that Putin is like a beast. He will taste victory and devour you along with the European Union, NATO, freedom, and democracy. And while most countries of the European Union agree that we should not let Putin win, if Putin wins, it will certainly pose a significant threat to other countries. And if Zelensky calls Putin a beast, it means that there will be no negotiations between him and Putin. And regarding negotiations, Zelensky said that if there is no fundamental step forward towards a peace agreement with Russia, and if Russia signals that they're ready to freeze the war, it only means they lack military resources and they need them to continue the war. Therefore, in the current situation, Zelensky says that a ceasefire would greatly benefit Russia. Zelensky stated that the war in Crimea would be the hottest point of this conflict in general. He did not specify or provide any details about it. The immediate goal of Ukraine is to protect Kharkiv, Nikolaev, Zaporizhia, Kherson, and, in general, to maintain life. Regarding the attack on Russian officers and propaganda journalists in Donetsk yesterday, so far, we still do not know who the target of that attack was. On New Year's Eve, Russia arrested hundreds of migrants in Moscow and St. Petersburg. The purpose of these arrests was to check whether these migrants had obtained Russian citizenship. If they had, they would be conscripted into the Russian army, and if not, they would be deported back to their home countries like Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Another interesting piece of information we received while making this video is that Russia's elite VDV forces, according to some reports, have lost a large portion of their combat-effective soldiers. What does this mean for the front lines, and what is Ukraine doing, particularly in the south? This information comes from the Institute for the Study of War, which reported that, upon observing Russian telegram channels, it appears that many VDV forces are starting to give up. This is because for Russia, low-skill infantry soldiers are easy to find. It's easy to train a simple infantryman, but much more difficult to produce someone who can plan and control missile systems, operate artillery, maintain tanks, and guide and position thermobaric rocket launchers. Therefore, Russia pays these soldiers, these specialists, more, and their tactics usually try to keep them toward the rear of formations, making prisoners or newly mobilized conscripts or pseudo-conscripts do the work of frontline infantry. Certainly, the UK Ministry of Defence has reported that the attrition rate is increasing to nearly 300 casualties every day, and as a result, Russian forces are deploying more soldiers into combat with less training. And at military academies, many new officers are being deployed directly from graduation to the front lines. Therefore, the reality is that Russia, even for its top-tier airborne commanders, is still shortening their training process and sending less trained soldiers to the front line. Today's news also includes that Canada has agreed to send more air defense systems and missiles to Ukraine. How many will be supplied? We don't know the exact number, but the contract's been signed. Additionally, Norway has agreed to make an exception for Ukraine in their military supply because usually they do not sell or send weapons to countries in conflict. Ukraine, clearly a part of the conflict with Russia, has received Norway's vote for direct military support, possibly including air defense systems also. We have received information that Europe, along with the United Kingdom, is considering ways to support Ukraine in the event that Trump wins the election in 2024 and decides to deny military support to Ukraine. Officials in Europe and the UK agree that we should not let Putin win. This means that military support for Ukraine will continue regardless of who is in the White House. Ukraine might lose a significant portion of support from the United States, but it will still receive assistance from other countries. It's crucial that Ukraine does not lose because, according to British intelligence, Russia also lacks resources for major assaults. Ukraine's focus in 2024 is solely on defense. However, the conflict is expected to continue into 2025 and possibly even longer. Our video for today comes to an end here. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you in our upcoming videos.